It is finally here at long last. We have it. North Dakota State's full first schedule in the Mountain West. This is very quickly here in the early part of March becoming one of my favorite storylines in all of college football. This is a legitimately fun realignment move. I don't enjoy all of them because sometimes there are seriously negative or harmful effects. This is one I'm on board with. It just makes sense for everybody. The Bison have maxed out what they can do at the FCS level. The Mountain West needed a school. It's reasonably in their geographic footprint. I'm here for it. So I'm not suggesting that North Dakota State is going to push for the college football playoff this year. I mean, that would be crazy, and it would be, I'm trying to think of something that would be crazy by comparison. That's just unfathomable. That's just something that certainly isn't going to happen. Like Indiana winning the national championship, something crazy or insane like that. I'm just saying I've seen wilder. So North Dakota State opens with Jacksonville State. That's a week 0 game. They play that at home. Then they play Fordham the next week. They will be favorites in both of those games at home. And that fan base, that program, the players, coaches, everybody will be invigorated with Mountain West juice. I don't have any reservations about them winning those two games. Then they play at Air Force, who was 4-8 last year. Now, under Coach Calhoun, they have been a very good program for a long time. Is it reasonable to expect a bounce back? Sure. Is that a little bit harder with the transfer portal for service academies? Yes, that is also true, but that's a road game. Got to go up to Colorado Springs. Let's see how it goes. Then, in the crossover group of 5 sicko knowledge ball game of the year on September 19th, they have a MAC non-conference game against Sacramento State. These programs were in premier FCS conferences in 2025, and they are playing a non-conference group of 6 football game in 2026. What a world. What a time to be alive. Then they play Wyoming at home and then at UNLV. Let me just stop and let me just throw a suggestion at you here because they have a bye before they get into the meat of their Mountain West schedule, which has got Wyoming, UNLV, Nevada, New Mexico, UTEP, Hawaii, Northern Illinois, and San Jose State. Those first 4 games, I fully expect, guaranteeing nothing, I fully expect North Dakota State to be favored in all 4 of those games. Maybe they'd be a slight dog, but I don't think by very much going to Air Force, but I really doubt it. So when you ponder what is possible for North Dakota State this year, a 4-0 beginning is right there on the table. And last year with UNLV, who they will play on October 10th in Las Vegas. If I am able to go, I live less than 2 hours away, I would love to go watch that football game. Dan Mullen just had a great first season. He won double-digit games. He was in the Mountain West Championship game. He brought in a bunch of new players. You don't know how that transition's going to go when one coach leaves. Barry Odom goes to Purdue. Dan Mullen takes over. I thought they'd do pretty well. They did better than I expected. But here was the thing. Earlier in the year, I felt like UNLV was a little bit of a fraud relative to their record. And a couple times throughout the season, they got exposed for that. By the end of the year, though, because they had stacked up all these wins, they almost lost to Idaho State in week 1. Idaho State, who played 2.5 hours up the road from Allegiant Stadium, where they almost beat UNLV, and got beat soundly by Southern Utah. I know, I was calling the game. And Idaho State was not a great FCS school last year. Almost beat UNLV. But the Rebels, with an atrocious defense, but an explosive offense, just kept finding ways to win over and over again. So then, once they got to the difficult games, they had started to settle into a rhythm. They had the confidence of a 4-0, 5-0 football team, and they wound up winning 10 games. And I look at the toughest games on this North Dakota State schedule and say, number 1 is the reigning Mountain West runner-up, UNLV, on the road on October 10th. That's one of your tougher games. 2 weeks later, probably your second toughest game, at worst, third. They have to go to New Mexico, who's going to be a contender in this league. And then November 14th, they have to play at Hawaii. Now, those three teams, in no particular order, UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii, it's actually a pretty rough draw for the Bison to have all of them on the road. There's some interesting games at home. They get Wyoming at home, Nevada at home, Northern Illinois, also a realignment school from the offseason at home. But having to play all three of UNLV, New Mexico, and Hawaii on the road removes any possibility. And I sincerely hope the Bison will be eligible for the conference championship and college football playoff. But let's just assume that that all gets itself worked out, which it should. Will it? We'll see. But those three games are definitely tough. Here's the crazy thing, though. If you think it's just out of the realm of possibility that North Dakota State could step into the league this year and make an impact in what I perceive to be the third best group of six conference in the country, even after they lost 5 really strong schools to the New World Pac-12. In the 2026 recruiting cycle, when you factor in, according to 24/7, the high school and transfer portal rankings into one cohesive metric, they are ahead. They are ahead this year, just slightly, but still in front of Hawaii, who's a Mountain West Conference title contender this year, and San Jose State, who maybe is not. They are also ahead of Air Force. That's a third of the league that they're going up against. 7th out of 10 in year one, not a bad place to be. Now, if I asked you just to take a big picture look at the Mountain West real quick, if I asked you who is number one in total team talent acquisitions in the offseason, who would you guess? If you said UNLV, you would be correct because it's the Rebels, and that shouldn't surprise anyone. There's a reason the Pac-12 wanted to go after UNLV. They've had a proof of concept with 2 coaches over the last several years in football, and it's a place where you have a decent amount of talent in your backyard. And I think going into 2026, they are my prohibitive favorite to win the Mountain West. Are they as much of a runaway favorite as Boise State has been in past years? No, I certainly don't think so. But let me just throw something else out there. And look, maybe this never comes up again on the show. Maybe this is just a throwaway comment in March that most of you don't remember. But let me just give you something for your consideration. Do you know who number 2 in the Mountain West in team talent is for the class of 2026, high school and portal together? It's Northern Illinois. Just saying. Just saying. How high is the threshold to have one of the best rosters in that league? What could Northern Illinois do? Let's find out. This feels as open of a group of 6 league as is out there. I think if you look at the Pac-12 landscape, Boise State, probably your favorite going into the year. In the American, will Tulane be the same? We'll see. Will Memphis be the same? We'll see. They both lost their coaches this past offseason. That league could be pretty wide open. I think the Mountain West is very open. UNLV slightly ahead, but I tell you what, it might be a rough first year because of those 3 road games for North Dakota State, but overall, they could just start to be a confident bunch if they can start 4-0, go into the bye, and then they'll roll off 7 straight Mountain West games. I think that could be very, very interesting. Keep an eye on what unfolds in Fargo this year. You should also keep an eye on the best accidental coaching hire of the offseason. Well, actually, that's an interesting thought experiment. Did Penn State or Michigan accidentally stumble into a great hire harder? I don't know, but I know Penn State's one of them, and they have got a great schedule.